All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's my privilege tonight, this afternoon, to introduce to you my representative of my home state. By the way, my name is Chuck Hope. I'm a member of the ECA Executive Board as the Secretary. I'm also a local City Council member. So on the stage right now, you have both sets. You've got the local representation at the city level, and you have the state representation at the federal level. So one thing that's kind of ironic about it is I was elected to City Council about 8 months before he was elected to the House of Representatives. It's also nice that when you both have the same first name as Chuck, the representative has to campaign every 2 years. So all my constituents back home sees my name all the time out there, so I don't have to do near the amount of campaigning as when you have your House Representative with the same first name. So it's always great to do it. They've given me a whole list of things to say, but let me just say this. Chuck Fleischmann gets it. He understands DOE, he understands the NNSA mission, he understands the Office of Science, how important those are to national security. He also understands what it takes for EM to do its job to make sure both of those missions continue to be strong and can always go forward. It's rare to have a congressman that understands it to the level that he does. He's in our home state a lot. He's in across the country, across the other DOE facilities a lot, and that's important. And it's great to have that, and especially in this room with all the people that do and work within this program. So it's very important. So I'll leave all the other good accolades to you. You can say that, ladies and gentlemen. Representative Chuck Fleischmann.
Thank you, Chuck. Good afternoon. It's great to see everyone today. I so appreciate the lunch. I love the great state of Tennessee and our airlines, but I didn't get sleep for about 24 hours because my flight from Chattanooga never did happen. So fortunately, I drove up to Knoxville, McGee-Tyson at about 2:20 in the morning and got on a 5-something flight because it was so important for me to be here with you all. So thank you for having me. I no longer consider these conferences and meetings when I'm meeting with my friends at the cleanup shop, the nuclear cleanup workshop. This is a reunion. This is a reunion for me. I've been doing this now for 13 years, and I see my friends from industry. I see from my friends from communities, affected communities from all across the United States, including my beloved city of Oak Ridge. I see my friends from academia, which is so important. I see great Americans coming together, doing something that is so critically important for our country with great jobs. This is one of those few areas when you stop and think, at a time when America is polarized, when a time when Americans are bickering back and forth, we come together with a plan to solve a problem and we get it done. We have the Department of Energy, the great folks at EM, and I'm going to give you some specifics about that, doing great work with our local and state leaders, with our elected leaders, with appropriators like me, and those folks that I like to work with on occasion called authorizers as well. I can no longer make authorizers jokes. The Speaker of the House asked me to go on the Science Committee in addition to my appropriation duties, so I kind of play offense and defense now, and I'm very privileged to do that. Well, since we had our last reunion, I have been privileged to receive something that I worked very hard toward. I am now the chairman of the Energy and Water Subcommittee of Appropriations. So I thank you. Thank you very much. That was not an easy task. but I love my job. And I will say this, my heart, my soul is in Oak Ridge in the great state of Tennessee. Remember, I was that kid from New York, Philadelphia, and Chicago who ended up in Knoxville at age 20 getting a law degree. I was not native to Tennessee, but I love all the great things going on in Tennessee. But I said this, when I was given the privilege of being chairman, whether it was in Idaho or Savannah River, which I just visited last week, great folks, or Hanford, or Paducah, as we go all around our great nation and we work on legacy cleanup, I promise to be fair and to listen and advocate. And I can tell you this, the bill that I wrote with my great energy and water staff for the United States House of Representatives is a bill that all of America can be proud of, and we need to get that passed. So thank you. Appreciate that. What happens when people work together? Great things. For over 12 years, I knew that Oak Ridge needed a new disposal cell. We've done tremendous work at Oak Ridge. I think it's only fair that I talk about the fact that our federal partners, Ike and Jeff Mullis, have worked so hard, hand in hand, with our great contractor, UCorp. Now, I don't choose the contractors, but when we get a contractor, I commit to working with that contractor. And for over a decade, I saw the folks at UCorp work very hard to take down the K-25 plant and to work exceedingly hard to get things done under budget and on time. But what has been the hardest thing I've had to do since I've been in Congress? It was getting a new disposal cell. Why is that important? The old cell is filling up. We've got legacy buildings at OR&L. We've got to do cleanup at the Y12 site. It's critically important. As we work to get these sites cleaned up, we need a suitable place to put this. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. But in rooms like this, and I can remember sitting with Ike White, 5, 6 years ago, and said, we just need to get it done. What did it take? It took us working with our local leaders in the great city of Oak Ridge to make sure that the citizenry was comfortable with it, and they did their job, and they were. It took our great friends, Greg Young and the folks at TDEC, who did an exemplary job in making sure their job as our state regulator, that they were going to be happy. We got that done. DOE was my partner from day one, whether it was with Ernie Moniz, Rick Perry, or Secretary Granholm. There was never really a problem with DOE. They were always on board because they got it. What I meant by that is they knew we had to get a disposal cell built so we could take down these legacy buildings and do that. The work would have gone elsewhere. And rest assured, as you know, this is a very competitive environment. There's more work out there that needs to be done, and we've got decades worth of work to get it done in America. So we had to get this cell built. There was one final piece of the puzzle, and I don't generally try to be rhetorical unless I'm losing an argument with my wife of 37 years, which happens on a regular basis. But I called our friends at EPA, and I said, I really need your help. We need your signature on that. And I posed a very rhetorical question to the then director over this. I said, are you an environmentalist? And he was a little bit stunned. Wow. He said, well, yes. I said, I am too. Work with me. DOE has, our state folks have, our academians have, our contractors have. I need your signature on this document or everything stops. And probably within about 2 months, we got EPA to sign off on that. About a month and a half ago in Oak Ridge, we all came together, labor unions, contractors, DOE, our state leaders, our elected leaders. It was incredible. And we cut a ribbon for a groundbreaking for that disposal cell. My message is this work is not easy, We're always going to find impediments there, whether that's money or anything that might affect a specific community. But if we stay committed and work together, put partisan differences aside. The mayor of the city of Oak Ridge is a liberal Democrat. I'm a center-right Republican. We work famously well together, but we get it done for the people in our respective jurisdictions. So that's my story for today. And if I may, I don't want to be professed too much, but we know that legacy cleanup is critically important to communities all over the United States. And as we work to clean it up, and we've cleaned up a lot of sites since the Department of Energy launched this, we've had a great success record. But as we work to continue to get this done, we're going to need to do certain things. Number one, we need a trained workforce. We've got to make sure that our workforce is there, capable, willing, and we've got to keep that workforce safe. We've got to make sure, and we're doing such a good job of that all around the country. That's critically important. The next thing we need to do is realize, and I can't stress this too much, that we are in a time of constrained budgets. So this is where it's very important. And this is where I have that great rapport again with my local cleanup contractor. Talk to me about the dollars that you absolutely positively have to get this job done. And then talk about your want list. And then it's my job as chairman to work with my ranking member, the minority member, the Democrat, to work with our colleagues in the Senate on the majority and minority side, and yes, to work with the administration, whomever is there, working with the secretary to make sure that we address these priorities in a way that is reasonable, rational, and fair. So that is my avocation. I do want to let you know this. We cannot move ahead with the great American nuclear renaissance, and we are moving ahead without EM. We've got to clean up these sites. That's not only in Oak Ridge, but around the country. As I work in the areas with many of you all, in advanced reactors and small modular reactors, micro reactors, as we are moving America's nuclear renaissance forward, and I was last week in London with many of you speaking to the International Nuclear Symposium about that. All of those laudatory goals that we have as Americans in order to get that done will not happen unless we complete EM. It's all part of a very wonderful puzzle. So your advocation, you take a look at these rooms, they're full. I belong to several caucuses in Congress. Baseball caucus, that happens to be one of my best. Yeah. But seriously, I've got about 6 caucuses, 5 of which deal with nuclear that I chair. And tomorrow night, we are going to have our nuclear cleanup caucus. I inherited that from a very good friend of mine, Doc Hastings, and we changed it a little bit. He did a great job, Doc did. He had the Hanford location. What we did and what we do, and I invite you all to come tomorrow night and be with us, we get members of Congress from both sides of the aisle in the room with you all, and we listen. That is your forum to see us come together. Now, the Sportsman's Caucus is another great caucus, but if you come into these rooms for a nuclear cleanup caucus, people are out the door. And people have said, Chairman, how did you ever get so many people involved and interested in legacy cleanup? Let's face it, it's not the most glamorous thing to be out there talking about, but it is so critically important. The end result is where the glamour is going to be. So thank you for working with me. Thank you for having me back. I do want to specifically thank Secretary Turk. I understand he was here earlier. We're working very well with he and Secretary Granholm on a lot of issues in EM. Remember, we're never always going to agree totally, and it's okay to disagree. That's the American way. But once we get done with those disagreements, we have to come together and move the ball forward. So thank you so much for having me. And I promised to stay on time, but I would love to take some questions. Obviously, there's an awful lot going on the Hill. Before I take questions, this is critically important. reach out to your member of Congress, please. Let's not have a government shutdown. Let's work together to make sure that we can get a responsible budget for the American people passed so that we can all get our work done. Thank you. Questions, please. Billy.
So what's the chances that you'll actually get a bill conferenced and passed this year?
It's a fair question, and it's an excellent question. I alluded to the fact earlier, I think the energy and water bill that my staff and I put together, that we actually have passed out of full committee, is an excellent bill. It addresses EM needs, it addresses really all of our needs on the civil side, on the weapons side. It's a well-balanced bill. I heard they have a pretty good chairman who got a 3% increase in his budget, while other bills got cut as much as 30%. Don't know how that happened. But so we've got some pretty good cards, Billy. I think we will ultimately get that bill to the floor in the House, probably in October. Hopefully we'll get that passed, and then possibly get something conferenced with our friends in the Senate. Candidly, the energy and water bill is one of the less contentious bills of the 12. We've passed one of the 12. We passed the Milcom VA bill. We're going to try to pass defense this week. So our bill is ready to go. We've got a good chance. My bill will look slightly differently than the Senate version. They have certain other priorities, and we respect that. But I do think we can come together and get a bill done for this country. We've done it in the past. Great question. I think we'll get it done. Other questions, please. Yes, sir. Seth.
All right. So, one of the big things in your bill is also advanced reactors, nuclear fuel, and all of those types of things. Can you just kind of touch upon those and the importance of those issues as well?
Thank you. As we talked about the term America's nuclear renaissance, the rest of the world, and I saw this last week in London, is moving ahead. Our adversaries, China and Russia, are friends. The French, the South Koreans, they were all there. They've got reactor designs, I think, that are good and viable and marketable to the rest of the world. The United States, I think, needs to do several things. First of all, I think we definitely need to regain our domestic capability to enrich uranium. That is so long overdue, and we have addressed that in our bill. But whether it's a micro reactor, an SMR, an advanced reactor, I point to our utilities. I'm a Republican who supports TVA. That doesn't make me too popular in some rooms, but we are very fortunate to have the Tennessee Valley Authority in Tennessee and in the Tennessee Valley. They have chosen, with a 42% nuclear portfolio, to make sure that nuclear will continue to be part of their portfolio in the future. Fortunately, at Clinch River, they have chosen a site and a reactor design that I think is excellent, and we will move forward, and we look forward to ultimately funding that. We have friends who have put forth other very viable designs. I'll be specific. NuScale, we treated NuScale very well. They're obviously looking at I believe, Idaho. TerraPower, X Energy, these are all companies that are looking at coming together with these designs. So we need the good designs. We've got good designs. We've got to make sure that the NRC works very hard to expedite the process. I want them to have their resources, but we've got to start building these things. So let's pick our designs. Let's work to get them licensed. And then we've got to get proper fuels like HALEU. We've got to make sure that we have abundant HALEU. In this day and age, it just stuns me that we are dependent so many times on countries like Russia for HALEU. And we can turn that around. We need to turn it around. How do we do it? Academia. My alma mater, the University of Tennessee, continues to graduate great nuclear engineers. But our friends from Tennessee Tech are here today. This is a smaller school, not even in my district, that decided to bring back their nuclear engineering program. And the reason they're doing that is because people like you all in rooms like this, that they can look out and say, my goodness, we've got graduates that want good jobs. Guess what? They've been told that as soon as they graduate their first person, everyone's going to have a job. So it's a concerted effort. I believe in American ingenuity. I believe in American excellence. So I do believe our designs will ultimately get there. And I will close with this on this question. We need a viable tool to finance these designs. We can't go out and just keep giving lectures while the Chinese and Russians agree to build, finance, run, deal with the fuel. We've got to tweak that a little bit. And once we get that in place, the sky's the limit. Thank you.
Congressman Wayne Barber with the Exchange Monitor, just so I'm clear on this, you asked everybody to contact the congressman. Are you expecting a continuing resolution to be worked out to avoid a government shutdown?
I sincerely hope so. I can tell you how I am going to vote, and I'm going to advocate. I've lived through some government shutdowns. And if you work and represent a great city, and I mean a great city like Oak Ridge, which sits in two wonderful counties, Anderson and Roane County, I can remember vividly that very first government shutdown over a decade ago. And there was a sign on a restaurant there that I enjoy eating at from time to time. And it said, "Everyone welcome to eat here except members of Congress." I got the message. So to answer your question candidly, I do not think government shutdowns are good. I think they're detrimental. They affect us. And the ripple effects to a community such as Oak Ridge or any of the communities that would have, for example, a large DOE reservation are very detrimental. We just don't flip a switch and fix some of the problems. So it's my fervent hope that we avoid that. We're going to have work to do to get there. It's not going to be easy, but I think at this point in time, a government shutdown would be very detrimental to where we are, not only in the DOE world, but as a nation. Great question. Yes, thank you. Tell us who you are. I've known everybody else who talked. Nice to see you.
Thank you. So I'm actually a model. I'm a recent hire with the Appropriations. So while many of us are recent graduates and are also very professionals, how do you feel we can best influence the field policy and what steps we need to actually see?
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the profession you've chosen and where you've decided to work. This is so important. I have worked very hard in my role now. I'm going to tell you a little secret. I'm going to be 61 in October. I know I don't look it. You don't have to say that. If you saw me on the baseball field last year, you'd probably say, well, it's about time to hang it up. You know, when they give you the MVP and you don't deserve it, it's about time to hang up the cleats. But I will say this. I sit in rooms and go into universities. We have a university at home, Southern Adventist University. It's in a place called Collegedale where they make wonderful little Debbie cakes. And I go in and I talk to students. Now, when I go in and I talk to students, and let's face it, I'm a Republican and I'm proud to be a Republican, but I don't go in and profess in a dogmatic way being a Republican or conservative and like. I go in and I talk about American government. And when I go in and I talk to young people and work with young people, it's a two-way street. I talk a little bit about the history because I think we can learn, you all can learn from the lessons of our generations, as I did from the greatest generation. My parents were from the World War II generation, but we can learn from you all. You can impart to us when the young people today, people say, is there a chance and a source for optimism in America? Well, it's right here. It's in our young people who are incredible. Their grasp of technology, their willingness to learn and to advocate and to be bold. Because we're going to have to be bold in this country, whether we're working for the Department of Energy, whether we're working for local, state, or federal government or in academia or for our contractors. We're going to have to be bold to succeed. So be a part of the process. not only a part of the political process, but be part of that dialogue and let your voice be heard. But thank you for that question. Appreciate it. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the full room, and I'll come back and see you next time. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, one more. Good to see you, John.
Good to see you. Thank you for everything you do. I was in your office yesterday.
Good. I wish I was. I was in an airport for 24 hours. Good to see you.